Hello, welcome to my presentation. My name is Rachel Helps, and I'm the Wikipedian in residence at the library at Brigham Young University. This presentation is on redefining outreach failure. And this is sort of like a clickbaity title to get you interested. It's not like anyone's telling me that I'm a failure, but there are certain metrics that we use to define like outreach success, for example. So what makes outreach successful? Um, these are some common metrics that we use to, see if an editing event was successful. The number of articles created or edited, number of editors who participated and who continue to participate, the amount of material added, number of references added, page views, all that kind of stuff. This is like this is what you see on the outreach dashboard, right? These are great metrics, but they're not the only ways we can succeed at an event. So, um, one thing we know about edit-a-thons is that they don't create new editors consistently, but they do something. They increase Wikipedia literacy, which is a valuable thing. And here is a study that the art and feminism people did on 24 of like the 75 students who participated. They were able to get to take a survey about, they just asked them, what do you feel like you learned? And this is sort of the distribution of what they said they learned. And so people feel like they're learning something, even if they don't continue to edit after that. And so for this presentation, I'm going to talk about 3 events that were not successful that I hosted in the number of attendees or in creating new editors that I organized. The Mormon Foremothers Edit-a-thon, trainings for students in clubs and who work at the BYU Library, and a contest with the Student Science Fiction magazine. So I'm going to talk about each one of those in turn. Okay, so the first one is the Mormon Foremothers Edit-a-thon. I did this like the first year that I was working at BYU in 2016, and it was Halloween themed. Help us solidify the ghostly presence of Mormon women on the internet, right? It sounds so good. But like I looked at all of the edit-a-thon how-tos at the time, which were like make it an all-day event and have food and make sure there's try to bring in a curator to talk about, have some sort of behind the scenes thing. So I had a training at 1 p.m. The folklore curator came and told some of the Mormon ghost stories at 3 p.m. And then my Wikimedia admin friend gave another training at 6, and we had bagels. And there was one person who just came for the bagels, and I was okay with that. And there were maybe like 6 people who came who weren't paid to be there, and like 2 of them were my friends who weren't students. So, like, I wouldn't consider this the most successful event in terms of creating and making pages. But however, when like we posted this in some general Mormon interest groups like Mormon Feminist Housewives, and they loved the fact that the BYU library was that we cared about women's pages on Wikipedia and that we were having this event. So in that sense, it successfully like virtue signaled that that we care about people, Mormon women's history. Um, this this is just to show you that this was a typical edit-a-thon where someone made a new page and it was got the speedy deletion nomination. But don't worry, you can see it's in blue text, right? We were able to get we worked together to make it not deleted. This is a typical contributor contribution history. So Shells 95 came to our edit-a-thon and she worked diligently the whole time, and she never edited again after this. And this is very typical of edit-a-thon participants. And so rather than inviting the entire campus to a library event, because we have like 30,000 students and that's just too many people, I decided to target groups of students a little more specifically. So to do that, I looked at our clubs. And we don't have fraternities or sororities at BYU, but we have tons of clubs. I emailed like 30 clubs that I felt like they would have aligned interests with us, and I did like brief how to add citation trainings to the anthropology club and this other service organization called Vineyard that focuses on family history work. And again, they didn't go on to be longtime editors, but they learned a little bit about Wikipedia literacy. Same thing with the students who help other students do research and writing at our little research and writing center. Um, I think it's even more important for them to have Wikipedia literacy since they are teaching students how to research. And so like I got a list of all their usernames, which I'm like, okay, at the training I made them all make their usernames, and then like I put them all of the contribution lists in an RSS feed so I could check them all at once. And there was maybe one student who, out of like 20 students, who actually edited a little bit after the training. So it, yeah, we're not gonna get. I'm not gonna be able to get them to keep editing forever, but we can get them to know what it's like to edit Wikipedia. And for my third outreach failure, we collaborated with The Leading Edge. This is a screenshot from their Instagram. You can tell that they're very interested in local Mormon science fiction writers who are famous on a national scale. And the Leading Edge is a semi-professional speculative fiction publication. And we co-hosted an editing competition with cash prizes. Like the first prize was $50 cash gift card. And I did a lot of prep for this. I like created the rules and the system of getting points for the contest. I created a work list of Utah-related science fiction and fantasy authors. And then I trained the editing team on the Leading Edge editing team on how to edit Wikipedia. And then I arranged for 3 other judges other than myself. No, like take a look at this. This was the work list I made, and like all these red links, these are people who could have pages, and like I found the sources, even with like page numbers. So in my mind, I'm like, I could not make this easier. But it was over the summer, and the student editor was graduating, and that's why she wanted to do it over the summer, but I was gone. I wasn't able to promote it as much as I could have. And we didn't even have one entry in the contest. So in that sense, it was a failure. However, the student editors at the Leading Edge were able to learn more about how to edit Wikipedia, and it was, I tried, but so enough about my failures. That we were reframing not as failures, but as something partially successful. These are events that were more conventionally successful, or not really conventionally, but like I wasn't expecting them to be as successful as they were. So the Coretta Scott King Award Edit-a-thon, the presentation to Mormon Women Publish, and the Association for Mormon Letters Discord that I made. Okay, so the Coretta Scott King Award is an award given to children's books by Black writers and or illustrators, and it is given by the American Library Association, and it's a yearly award, and we decided that we would do this for Black History Month, and have people create pages for these children's book pages. And I think limiting the scope helped a lot, because book pages, they've won an award. They're already notable, so we don't have to worry about them being deleted. And elementary education is a common major at BYU. And so there were 3 sections of juvenile literature, and I emailed all the professors, and it just so happened to turn out that the time that I planned for the edit-a-thon was the same time as the class, and the adjunct instructor was like, can I just bring my whole class? And of course I was like, yes, please do. So I was able to make a very specific guide for how to create children's book pages on Wikipedia. It's on my user page. You're welcome to read it, use it. And we created 18 book pages. And I was able to like check out the books and have them there at the edit-a-thon too, so you could read them and write the plot summary to go along with the page. And so this was maybe one of the more successful events, my most successful event that I've ever done. And this, you can see this from the outreach dashboard page, that it was conventionally successful and that we created all these pages. Although me and my students did do some cleanup afterwards, and there was a lot of prep work as well. So I'm not sure if I can replicate this because as a library employee, it's not really my job to tell professors how to teach. I sort of have to wait for them to come to me, but this was great. We should do this again. I don't know how. Okay, so the next thing is the presentation to Mormon Women Publish. Mormon Women Publish is a Facebook group for women who either want to or have already published, usually fiction, but there's also like some creative nonfiction publishing there too. And the organizer of the group asked me to publish on Wikipedia, and the authors were very interested in how they could qualify for their own Wikipedia page, right? And so we basically went over notability guidelines and what good sources are, and encourage them to try to get newspaper articles about their books and them. And there were like at least 20 people, and that's really good and like they all wanted to be there. It wasn't just like they were like, oh, I have to be there because it's my friend, I want to support her, So I may have prevented some self-interested editing by this presentation. Here is the next thing I have done. I created a Discord for the Association for Mormon Letters, and I have my own little Wikipedia channel that I made. And I often ask for help with research there, and I get help because these are all people who are, maybe they've written a bunch of like academic articles on Mormon literature that they want to tell me about, or they've edited collections, or they know people. I get so much help with my research here. It's fantastic. And so this is sort of a demonstration of, I asked for books and articles on Mormon poetry because I don't know anything about it, and people gave me lots of stuff to look at. We still haven't finished that project, but I'm gonna come back to it. Similarly, there's a group on Facebook for Mormon historians, and I asked them for help when I was doing my literature review, a source evaluation for the Brigham Young page. I was like, I haven't found anything about this book. Can you tell me what you know about this book, or if there's been reviews of it? And people help me find stuff. And this is a good way to get the community involved in Wikipedia writing. They might not be comfortable editing Wikipedia themselves, but they want to tell me about sources, and I love it when our interests can align and I can involve a bigger community in my editing work. And it increases the visibility of Wikipedia in those communities as well. Okay, so here's your takeaways. Other ways that outreach can be successful are events that you put on can show the broader community what the values of your institution are, like that we valued Mormon women's history and increasing their visibility. Trainings for students can increase Wikipedia literacy, even if it doesn't create long-time editors. And calls for information in the right place can help you find good sources and help the broader academic community feel part of Wikipedia editing. And as a bonus at the end, I did some internal outreach with these little library zines I made. It was just a creative whim that I completely indulged. But handing these out to people, they are happy to see me and they want a zine. And they're more excited about my zine writing than they are about my Wikipedia writing. But it just increases my positive interactions with my 200 coworkers and helps them, when I will need to collaborate with them, they will hopefully want to. So that is the end of my presentation, and thank you for watching. And I hope you have a lovely day.